The galaxy had always been cruel to humans, or at least to the one human who now found himself in the center of an interstellar storm. My name is Darius Kane, and I had never imagined that a routine mission for the Galactic Council would lead me into the heart of a palace rife with treachery, swords, and alien politics. Yet, there I was, lying on the marble floor of the Queen's chamber, 6 knife wounds burning along my chest, and the child of the most powerful ruler in the galaxy crying above me. It all began on Celestria Prime, a luminous world orbiting the star Solara 4, known for its sapphire oceans and crystal forests. I had been assigned to a diplomatic convoy, an escort mission to transport Queen Virelia's only child, Princess Liara, from the orbiting station down to the palace for the annual Festival of Luminescence. The festival was more than just a celebration. It was a ritual, a display of the Queen's dominance over her allies, and a warning to her enemies. The convoy was moving through the Seraphine sector, notorious for pirate attacks and ambushes. Reports of mercenary groups loyal to Virelia's rivals had surfaced, but no one anticipated what awaited us near the ecliptic rift. The attack was swift. Shadows leaped from the void, their ships sleek, black, and armed with plasma disruptors. I barely had time to raise my shield before they boarded our vessel. I had trained for years in hand-to-hand combat, but nothing could have prepared me for the onslaught that awaited in the corridors of the palace. The intruders weren't ordinary mercenaries. Their movements were precise, synchronized, almost mechanical. They cut through my team with terrifying efficiency, and soon, I found myself cornered in the inner courtyard with Princess Liara in her hover cradle, guarded only by me. "Stay behind me," I shouted, drawing my plasma blade. The first assailant lunged, a serrated knife flashing in the dim light. I twisted, barely deflecting the strike. Pain shot through my side as another knife found its mark. Then another. 6 times they pierced my body, each wound hotter than the last, yet I would not, let them touch her. Liara's small voice trembled. "Sir, are you hurt?" I gritted my teeth. "I'll live. But you—" I gestured toward the exit. "You get to safety." Her tiny hand reached for mine, and for a moment, I froze. The weight of responsibility pressed down on me. She was more than just the Queen's child. She was a symbol, a fragile thread holding a fragile peace. If she died, the galaxy might plunge into war. Summoning the last of my strength, I hurled one assailant across the courtyard, and the others paused, momentarily shocked by the humans' resilience. Humans were rare in the interstellar elite. They were considered fragile, unpredictable. But there I stood, bleeding, barely conscious, and unyielding. Liara's cradle hovered steadily as I activated its emergency autopilot, sending it toward the palace gate. She looked back at me, her violet eyes wide and fearful. "Hurry," she cried. I smiled weakly. "I'm always with you." The intruders advanced again, their knives ready. My vision blurred, pain searing across my chest, but I lunged forward, a final desperate move. I took down the lead attacker, then another, staggering but refusing to fall. One by one, they realized I was not just a human soldier, they were facing a force willing to die for the Queen's child. When the last assailant fell, I sank to my knees. Blood pooled around me. I could hear the faint hum of the palace energy shields activating as the alarms blared. My body screamed for me to give up, but I could not. Not when she was still out there, vulnerable. Hours later, or perhaps minutes, time had lost all meaning. I awoke in the palace infirmary. My chest burned, but the medical droids had stabilized me. Above the bed, hovering gently, was Princess Liara. Her expression was unreadable, and yet I sensed something powerful simmering in her gaze. You saved me, she said softly. I tried to laugh, but coughed instead. Somebody had to. She tilted her head. You took 6 knife wounds for me. For a human to do that, it is unheard of. Unheard of, maybe, but necessary. Her small hand brushed mine. And then she did something I never expected. She touched the medkit hovering above me, her tiny fingers manipulating the controls with an intuitive precision that no human, or most aliens, could manage. In moments, she had begun the emergency repair protocols, accelerating my healing. My wounds began to close, but not entirely. They left scars, a reminder of what had happened. Why are you doing this? I whispered, astonished. You're the Queen's child. You could let me die. Liara's gaze hardened, her violet eyes glinting with determination far beyond her years. Because you protected me. Because your actions were not for politics, or gain, or glory. They were for me. And that is worthy of recognition. The doors to the infirmary opened. Queen Virilia herself appeared, her aura radiating authority. I had met the Queen only once, during a council meeting, and even then, she had seemed untouchable, almost divine. Now, she was here, silent, observing. Darius Kane, she said finally, her voice echoing in the sterile room. I have heard much about you. 6 wounds. You risked your life for my daughter. Explain yourself. I struggled to sit upright. Your Majesty, she is your child. I could not let her die. Nothing else mattered. Virilia's gaze swept over me, sharp as a blade. Then, unexpectedly, she knelt beside the bed. And you have lived. That in itself is extraordinary. But what surprises me most is her choice. Liara stepped forward. Mother, he saved me. Not for honor, not for reward, not for politics. He did it because he understood what needed to be done. The Queen's eyes softened and then narrowed. Humans, fragile creatures. Yet some carry the strength of the stars within them. I see now that you are one of them, Darius Kane. You have earned more than gratitude. What do you mean? I asked, exhausted. Virilia straightened. Every act of bravery is recognized in the lineage of my house. Few outsiders, none, in recent memory, have demonstrated loyalty so pure. You will remain within the palace as my protector, officially. And you will be honored among the stars as the human who dared to defy death for the life of a queen's child. I blinked. Recognition was one thing, but the weight of it pressed upon me. I had no desire for fame. I had desired only to see her safe. Liara smiled, her small hand resting over mine once more. And for me, you are my guardian, my hero. I do not care about titles or honors. I only care that you are alive. Days turned into weeks, and the story of that night spread throughout Celestria Prime. Reports of a single human fending off 6 assassins to save the princess reached every corner of the palace and beyond. Couriers from distant systems arrived with gifts, messages of admiration, even attempts to recruit me into other factions. I ignored them all, focused only on recovery and on Liara, who had begun referring to me as her shadow of protection, a title she had invented herself. Even the Queen's Council, initially skeptical of my human fragility, began to see the advantage of my presence. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but perhaps that unpredictability was exactly what made me effective. The night of the Festival of Luminescence arrived. The palace sparkled with radiant lights, the air thick with music, and delegates from across the sector mingled with nervous formality. I stood beside Liara, my uniform spotless despite the scars that remained under my tunic. The Queen approached, her gaze sweeping over me with the weight of a ruler who had seen countless wars and betrayals. Tonight, she announced, her voice carrying across the grand hall. "We honor loyalty, courage, and sacrifice. Darius Kane, human protector, you are a living testament to all three. You have risked your life, taken 6 wounds, and yet you rise. The galaxy will remember this night, and your place in it will not be forgotten." Liara's hand found mine under the table, squeezing it gently. "See? I told you they'd recognize you." I could only nod, humbled. For the first time, I felt the strange, weighty satisfaction of knowing that my actions, taken from pure instinct and courage, had not only saved a life but also earned respect across the stars. Later, when the festival lights dimmed and the palace grew quiet, Liara approached me once more. "Do you realize what you did? You changed everything. Not just for me, but for all of us. Your courage, it has reminded the galaxy what loyalty truly means." I looked at her, exhausted, scarred, yet alive. "I did what anyone should have. But your gratitude, that's enough." Liara tilted her head, her violet eyes shimmering. "Not enough. It is just the beginning. Because when the galaxy sees what humans are capable of, who knows what changes might come next." And in that moment, I realized she was right. 6 knife wounds had been a high price, yes. But in saving her, I had sparked something far greater than myself. A bond, a recognition, reminder that courage, no matter the form it takes, could shake the foundations of empires. Queen Virilia watched us, silent, and then finally smiled. The acknowledgement, rare and powerful, spoke louder than any words could. I had taken 6 knife wounds, yes. But the Queen's response, her respect, her recognition, and her trust in me, was a reward far beyond any pain I had endured. It shocked all who witnessed it, for no one could have imagined that a single human could earn the favor of a queen through sheer courage alone. And as I stood there, beside the princess and beneath the galaxy's glittering lights, I understood that some acts, small or great, could echo across the stars forever. As the festival lights dimmed and the palace settled into quiet, the weight of the night's events finally sank in. Princess Liara stood beside me, her small hand brushing against mine, a gesture of trust and gratitude that no words could fully capture. Queen Virilia approached silently, her presence commanding as always. "You have proven what few ever could," she said, her voice calm but heavy with authority. "Not through bloodlines or politics, but through courage, loyalty, and a willingness to sacrifice yourself for another. That is true strength." I bowed my head, still feeling the ache of the 6 knife wounds that had nearly claimed me. "I did only what anyone would do," I said quietly. The Queen's eyes softened, a rare glimpse of warmth in her unyielding gaze. "Most would not. Most would falter. But you have earned not only my gratitude, but my respect. You are forever part of this palace, this family, and this legacy. Let it be known across the galaxy, a human's courage can rival that of any empire." Liara looked up at her mother, then back at me. "See? I told you. You are more than a protector. You are a hero." For the first time since that night of chaos, I allowed myself to smile, knowing that my actions, painful, terrifying, and desperate as they were, had changed the course of more than one life. The Queen's response, her recognition, and the princess's trust formed a bond stronger than any weapon or shield. And as I stood there, surrounded by the quiet glow of the palace, I understood. Bravery is not measured by survival alone, but by the lives you touch and the hearts you protect. In saving the Queen's child, I had earned more than honor. I had earned a place in a story that would echo across the stars for generations. The galaxy had witnessed it all, and it would never forget.